But if they don't fail, they don't learn.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And you can't interrupt their movie. Mm-hmm. Even if you have the answers to the tests, sometimes your answers are more valid if you shut up and watch them fail. Mm-hmm. So my advice to parents, while you have them in your house, set them up to where you can watch them fail.
Let go. Hey, okay, I know I'm here to stay. Counting on my wins, so I can't play it safe. Trying to go against us, get you out the way. Go hard, it's the only way to play. Let me say, I'm a trendsetter. I'm a go-getter. I'm a trendsetter. I'm a go-getter. I'm a trendsetter. Who can do it better? I'm a go-getter. I'm a trendsetter. Hey, look.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Scene.
Yes, I'm not gonna. I always say it at the same time. I'm not going to say it.
It's your girl, Erica Lynn O'Keefe.
Hey everyone, I'm Gloria Govan.
And we are excited to be back, and not only to be back, but we actually have a very, very cool guest. As you all know, we are trying to help our fellow sports parents understand kind of how to navigate the youth sports scene, because it's ever evolving and there's definitely different ways to go about it and how to approach it. And so we're really excited to have this guest on because he is literally one of the guys who kind of helps with the development side of things. And I'll let Gloria do an intro.
Yes, yay. This is everyone. He has absolutely either trained, been with, posted, podcasts, designed, developed one of your favorite players, and if not one of yours, absolutely one of your favorite kids. Everyone, please welcome Chris Johnson. Insert applause.
Let's go.
Right.
How are you today?
I'm amazing.
Good.
I was super excited when Gloria hit me. Was like, yo, you'll come on my show? Of course. I rock with her.
Thanks.
Energy's good.
I appreciate
Her family's beautiful. I love her boys. So for sure, I no matter what I had going today, I was gonna be here. So
Oh, I appreciate
I'm happy
you.
to be here.
He actually was like, hell yeah. And I was like,
Yeah,
We
of
love
course.
a good
Yes.
hell yeah
Yes.
energy
Hell
around
yeah,
it.
and being on a podcast, a show with women that are talking about youth sports and development of kids, youth. I'm in.
oh, I love
We
that.
really appreciate that. It
Yeah.
means a lot to us. Like, obviously, as you know, it's hard to get respect in entertainment industry and the sports industry in particular as women. And so anytime the fellas come through and show us a little love, we're always very grateful for that. So I want to jump into, let's start from the beginning. Like, how did you kind of get into this position? At what point was like training and all that, like what you wanted to do?
So for me, like all players, I played, and after college, ready to go overseas, I had the worst injury possible, which is the Achilles tear. And it was from training. I was overtraining in these jump soles. And I didn't know. I was training myself, to be honest with you. Okay. So, but what happens is in the jump soles, you stand like on your tippy toes all the time. I wore those shoes all day long. And I want hops. I want to be bouncy. I want to be explosive. And we didn't have like trainers back then. You had your strength coaches that worked for the university or at the high school, but you didn't have that. So once that happened to me, I was like 22.
Okay.
And it was like 2001. So when it happened, I had gave so much to the game. I've always been dedicated to the game, but I was always a coach on the court. And I was always a leader for the team, and I was an advocate for the coach. Sure. You know, in college, you get players from all over the place. We had guys from Baltimore, from New York. Yeah. You know, so everybody's different. Yeah. And I used to be the one like, bro, like, shut up. Like, like, what are you doing? And then I'm looking at Coach like, Coach, why are you provoking him?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And so once I was injured and I was at my mom's home, you know, with a degree, and I'm thinking about everything that's going on, and this is early September, and then boom, it was 9/11. And I felt like I'm being strong as I could be. I can't even run. So if it's really going down, I'm in trouble. So my pivots, that was one of my pivots in my life. Okay. And so I always look at a person's life based on their pivots, not from where they came from. So I don't even talk much about what I really did in the past as a player, and I did really good, it really doesn't matter. And what's important is how good am I today? And so with that being said, I accepted a graduate assistant position in college. So I started my college coaching in a boot.
Oh, wow.
I had to wait until December because it was September, the semester started, and I was going to be out, I think, 18 to 24 months, like 2 years.
Okay.
Because it's Achilles. Think about 2001. It's not surgery today.
Right.
I have a scar
medicine,
all the way
yeah.
up to here, and it really shouldn't happen. I really had no injuries up to that point. And so for me, when you give everything
Yeah.
at my talent, at what I gave, I was able to transition and not be one of those guys in the hood talking about, man, I could have been playing overseas, I could have been playing in the league. No.
Yeah.
Let me tap into other gifts. So I started coaching in college. I got my graduate assistant's and position, and then I got my master's in guidance and counseling. So my focus was based on the perception of my college team and how there was a lack of communication between the coaches and the players. And I'm looking at my teammates, 6'9", 240, talented out of East Baltimore, and he's like, "Arr," and coach over here like not playing him I'm like, bro, this is a disconnect.
Yeah. Sure.
And then that's what really sparked me to really try to understand people and study the emotional intelligence of like minority student athletes. So that was my pivot in getting into coaching. So when people see me today, it's like, Chris is the best trainer ever. I was like, I coached graduate assistant in college, D1. I was a coach, D1. I stepped away from that to develop the youth. And, I felt like maybe 3 more years I would have been a head coach in college.
Okay.
But there was a gap when you recruit. And at this point, I'm young. I'm like 24, master's degree, black. I could recruit kids in the hood.
Sure.
They wasn't being developed.
Sure.
So I was more curious about how can I learn how to develop players so when they get to college, they could be ready. And then the flip side of it, the college coaches that was on the staff didn't know how to coach. They only did what the head coach had in place of his system.
Sure.
That means whoever he learned from,
Right. That was
Sure.
it. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
it.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I realized that everybody didn't know everything.
Sure. That part.
That part. Yeah.
And you got to take a few steps backwards to go forward.
Yeah.
So I went into college, high school coaching, which to me was like the dopest experience I had for about 7-8 years.
Yeah.
And at that time is when I started my player development company. But I was coaching high school. We had in Texas, the high schools are big, like 3,000, 5,000 kids.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a full staff. You're talking about a full strength and conditioning department.
Right.
Junior highs, you have like 3 or 4 feeder junior highs, all the way down to elementary. So it taught me a lot. It actually taught me more than any part of my life was developing kids that was supposed to be projected B-teamer.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, you in? He's like, I'm in. And now he's a starter 2 years later, and then he's a Division I player.
Right.
So I knew if I could take a B-teamer,
Right. And get him to D1, please.
I could
Yeah.
take anybody
Yeah.
and do that. And so you need room as a developer, as a teacher, to be able to work on your craft. And coaching is development. And so I learned how to become a coach. I was like, I think I got 7 years in a row, Coach of the Year, state of Texas.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But people would know
Yeah.
that because I
Do that.
I was president of the Coaches Association at 24
Wow.
in the state of Texas.
Which is crazy.
I held that position for years. I was speaking for Nike all over the world.
Yeah.
I was speaking for all the conferences. Basketball was what I was doing, and I was obviously getting recruited by all the D1 coaches that would come to practices and watch the organization. They're like, yo, we need you back here. But I was like, no, like I still have a lot to learn. So coaching in high school, calling your own timeouts, situational coaching, communicating with young players will really help some coaches in the professional rank because they never called timeouts before.
Right.
They never had to.
Yeah, no, I had to think about that, but I was like, no, you're right.
It's a different seat.
It's a super different,
It's a
100%.
different seat. So when people are criticizing, you know, like youth or like high school coaches, like go sit in their seat.
Yeah.
And, you know, we really should give them support and really build them. And that's why as I start to build my career, I started so early, I'm able to do what I'm doing now. So I coached in the G League. I coached in the NBA for the Houston Rockets. And I was able then to step away from that because I really seen my talent.
Yeah.
And my talent is coaching, but my talent really is taking people where they supposed to go on their journey. So I had to step away from coaching with wins and losses to really focus on development because it's really hard to develop if you're focusing on winning and losing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I'll sub you out.
Right. Yeah.
That's not development. It's like,
Yeah.
clock score. You're like,
Yeah.
and so I realized that I was like, oh, you need a real system. And this is when I met Phil Handy. Phil and I was speaking at a big conference. And when we sat down, we were like, we're going to change the development game because it really wasn't in existence. So we talked about building a system that allowed for us to work. If you catch Phil, shout out to Phil.
He's one of the best in the business.
One of the best, one of my best friends in the game. He will be in the gym with a 12-year-old girl hooper, giving her everything that he got. The same way he would do Braun or Cope or the list just goes on. So him and I, that's why we move the way we move. So it doesn't matter your name. It doesn't matter what team you play for. If you're here and you want what we have, our job is to provide it.
Yeah,
And so
that.
that's
That
how I
was
got
so
into
perfect.
coaching.
I
It
love
was-
that. I
yeah.
like you even more. Yeah. Go ahead, see. Look at us doing things.
No, it's really awesome and a really great perspective because I think we've talked a lot about with people and everybody has different perspectives on it or whatever, but there feels like there's such a gap between skill development between the youth and then when they're getting to these upper levels and then they
Yes.
get to these upper levels, you know, the complaints around the NBA right now about whether or not the game is good, whether it's entertaining or not, you know, everybody looking the same, blah, blah, blah. But all that is because we don't have enough youths in the world,
Right.
right? That's like starting early enough. I want to ask a two-part question. So the first part is considering that you do work with the high level, right? The NBA players, the bronze people of the world. How receptive are they at that level for what it is that you are trying to help them unlock, even though that they are some of the best players already?
The
in the game?
best players in the world are the best students. Period.
Oh, repeat. Say
Right.
that.
The best,
Let's go.
the best
Parents,
players
hear
in the
this.
world are the best students. Period. They want to be a sponge. They assume they know nothing. So my approach, I started this about 12 years ago. If you work with me as a professional athlete, every year we start over. Because what if I missed something last year? What if I missed something the year before? I assume you know nothing.
Right.
And even though we have building blocks, when we start over, it may take this player 2 weeks for us to go back and resurf. It may take this guy a month. They're two different students. So we always start over. And starting over is good because you get a chance to see what you missed
Right.
as a teacher. Your job is to make sure the information is there. And so dealing with the best players in the world, I realized they all have the same trait. They're great students.
Interesting.
Yeah. Even the most stubborn ones in the world.
Right.
They want to know. I realized that as a teacher, if you don't have enough reps, enough confidence, and you're not being a student yourself, you cannot develop someone at that level because there's going to be a situation that you need to address, and they know it.
Sure.
And if you don't say anything,
Yeah.
then it shows the lack of confidence and the lack of knowledge that you have.
Yeah.
So on the court, it should be a workable relationship. You can learn from a young player as well as you can learn from an older player.
Sure.
And then if you take a real step back and not put your perspective on them, if you try to understand their perspective, which I call their lens, you can really see how they see it. And then that's when you tap in and you can help them see the game clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, because a lot of our audience is kind of like newer and kind of understanding some of the terminology and what it all means, right? When you say we're starting over, right? You're referring to literally starting from the basics of...
Yeah, from scratch. So like I have clients I've had over a decade. I know what they know. They know what they know. When we begin our off-season training, we start over from the beginning, step by step, just like I would work with her babies.
Sure.
I'm going to start them on the same track.
Okay.
Now, based on you, is how fast we can progress.
Sure.
Got you.
Because I may have some things that we want to add to you. I'm not adding those right away. I got to go back and make sure that all the boxes are checked.
Yeah, break it down.
I got to break it down. And I got to show that we're both aligned. And the progression can happen in seconds.
Sure.
Like I got some players that, hey, we're starting over. Within 3 days, he looked like he would look at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, we can progress that.
Yeah.
And then there's some guys that could be in the same gym, same facility, same workout that are not on that same progression. Maybe they need to see that though. So when you talk about guys being in the same work, they may need to see someone a little bit more advanced, a little bit more like detail, care a little bit more, show up early. Like that's how you mix and mingle. So like development is so many different like pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And the more parents, the more women can understand it, they could choose better people to surround their kids with, because it's not just skill level. Skill level is punch in the bag.
Sure.
Think about boxing.
Right.
Right? The first thing that a boxing coach or like a boxing manager teach a boxer is to jump rope for foot speed and how to punch the bag. Now, fast flip it, cones, dribbling, punching the bag. So if your kid's not getting any better because the coach hasn't progressed from punching the bag, he hasn't taken translatable information into game situations, and that which helps the IQ.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people miss that because it's like I've created 5 stages of development.
Okay.
And the lowest level is punching the bag.
Okay.
So that's why you see all these people pop up and say, oh, I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
Everybody
trainer.
They call me.
Everybody's-
And I asked them, funny, y'all will laugh at me because I'll be like, they're like, Chris, because I have a coach's program to develop. Did you get your degree? Nah, I was, well, I want you to go back and be a graduate assistant. They said, no, but we see you. I was a graduate assistant.
Right.
I graduated in a 12-month, I think I took a mini course in the middle, 4.0 GPA in 1 year.
Right.
I didn't even know I could do that because basketball had consumed my life.
Sure.
But when I only had school and the coach, I had time.
Right. That's fair. Because basketball takes up. Yeah.
So I graduated. And so
Yeah.
most of these guys, they watered down the industry, not because they don't have good purpose, is because they're looking at it as a business.
Yes.
And so now you just got a bunch of people running around punching the bag.
And that's what we find a lot of our issues to be like, you know what I mean, with our babies, right? Like there are so many people often, I was just having this conversation with you, a mom was like, I don't know what to do with my son. He's with a trainer. He charges me $150 an hour. He did it like, thank you. And I was like, and there was this other mom who's paying $5,000 a month. Woo. Let me tell you something.
Baby.
And I was like, I told Derek, and Derek was like, well, what was her name?
Right,
What was her
exactly.
name?
Damn, that's a mortgage.
Send
I
them,
was
send them
like,
to Jus Hoop, please.
Right. Exactly.
I feel like I'm an OG and I'm one of the best teachers in the game.
this is true.
Our prices
You
are
should
not
know.
like that.
Yeah.
prices should be relatable
Yeah.
to
fair.
situation, regardless of what the parent has made, regardless of if they're famous or not. It should be consistent.
Sure.
High school should be high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's people look at me and people tell me, it's like, bro, I was like,
What?
that's why they don't have business.
Sure.
So business is not ran like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. And it's concerning too because these trainers are popping up. They're not necessarily teaching a lot. What I found is that a lot of trainers before you used to like to use the boys as like promotion.
Absolutely.
Training, posting them,
Yes.
bring it. And I'm like, they are not, and then charge me full price. And I was
Absolutely.
like, time out. So you want to market, advertise my kids and still want to check? Time out.
Her babies are like my favorite.
Thank you.
They're such good humans,
They're
right?
great kids.
But they look you right in your eye.
Yeah.
They got some shit from her. They got some shit from their dad.
Mm-hmm.
But when you mix it, they're like them, right? We would love to post them.
Right.
That ain't why they're there.
Right.
That ain't our purpose.
Right.
And, they're my nephews. I bet they be like, oh, Chris, it's with purpose. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need anything. Matter of fact, where we are now is I'm the perfect teacher for you. Because I don't need nothing to make a name.
Right.
And I don't need anything extra.
Sure.
So it's really important to understand the privacy and the development for the kid. And you protect the kid first.
Right.
First.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of, so for our parents who have kids, right, they've expressed interest, they want to play whatever the sport is, basketball,
Right.
football, whatever it might be, right? What's the sweet spot for you in terms of determining between something fun for a kid to do, that's an extracurricular thing, and when we need to get a little bit more serious about them having a future in the sport? Like, is there an age range where you're like, by this time, we should kind of understand where the difference is and then how then proceed with them?
No.
Okay.
I think it's case by case, right?
Okay.
I think it's dependent on the individual. Like, you have some kids that are just focused individuals. Like, that's their personality. I mean, I don't want to say how old I am, but like one of my trainers, Corey, I've known Corey since he was 8 years old.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
People don't know that.
I know. I like
But
Corey.
during that time, I remember I told you I took that high school coaching position in the state of Texas. He came all the way through the system.
Oh.
Corey was great. So Corey has never changed. So when Corey went to school, I put him in college. He played college ball. He got his degree. He's supposed to be going to be a doctor. And he calls my phone like, yeah, he got his degree in biology.
No way.
He's
Come
like-
on, go ahead, Corey. That's
He
it.
like, Coach, I want to come and be on your staff. Click.
You hung up on him?
Yeah, because now I'm going to have to move him to L.A.
Oh.
I'm paying you to teach you my craft.
Sure.
I'm paying you, and so he flew himself out here. And when he flew himself out here, I took him to eat. And I was like, right now, our staff is loaded. And about a week later, Chris Hines, he's with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They play the Lakers tonight. And he's one of my guys. And so Chris, I got him a job in the NBA. He was like, look, I don't want to be in the industry now. I want to see if I can take it over there. So we have guys that come from my tree. We call it the family tree of training that are in the NBA. I have like 20 plus player development coaches in the NBA.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm going to call Corey. Because I was looking through LA and I'm like, what I really need is I need someone that is solid. Because of the profile people that we have around.
Sure.
Not necessarily, they don't have to be great at basketball. Just be solid.
Sure.
And don't use people.
Yes.
And stay in your lane. I'm going to put you in rooms. Just chill. And so when you meet new people, it's not necessarily how much information they know. It's those things. Are you loyal?
Yeah.
What's your character? Can I mess with you? I knew Corey was checking those boxes.
Sure.
And so I reached back out and he just went nuts. And so, going back to the question, it doesn't matter. I think kids are who they are. And they'll continue to grow little by little. But for a parent to push them, that's not going to work. You know, you have to find out what they want and then give them all the resources and surround them with what they want. Because at the end of the day, if they don't want it, they're not going to be willing to do the hard things when it happens, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, the adversity in it for sure.
Yeah.
So, you spoke a little bit about like giving basketball your all.
Yeah.
Were you a like 2 or 3 sport kid as well, and then you
State
found
of
hoop?
Texas. No, in the state of Texas, when you grow up in the state of Texas,
Like girl football.
we start pee wee football.
Yeah.
We all hoop. We went from football to hoop to baseball to track, and really you didn't take a break. And in the neighborhoods, you know, you're always playing. So you grow up with the same people. You don't move. Like either you got it or you don't. You know, can you fight? You know, like because if you good and you hooping, like you might have to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I grew up playing all sports, and when I got to high school, my freshman year was my last year playing football. I was actually pretty decent.
solid,
Yeah,
I bet,
really.
yeah.
Because my bill, and we got a bunch of guys playing the NFL for my class. And then my high school coach was dynamic. He was such a good teacher. And he just captivated my mind with X's and O's and passing me notes in history class. And they got the plays on it. We're at the number 1 team in the state of Texas. I'm the point guard. Like, we got a guy that's going to be projected. And so, like, our teams was good. And so I didn't choose basketball really, like, full commitment until high school. But being an athlete was what we did all year. Whether it was throwing something, passing something, you know, competing was the thing. Even the girls.
Right.
All of our girls team in high school went to state all 4 years, just like
Right.
all my
Oh, yeah,
cousins
no
can.
matter what.
My cousins can hoop.
Yeah. Right.
They run barefooted,
Right.
outside,
Right.
full speed,
Yeah.
and then you have some girls fasting guys, and you know the best thing that I feel like what's missing in today's youth is your ability to GM
Okay.
the group. So I'm not gonna pick you if you're not good, Gloria.
Fair.
You walked in, I got her, she don't play right. Your friends,
Sure.
the peers, would put pressure on you to either develop,
Sure.
Oh yeah.
to get better, to get faster. They'd be like, you're not faster than her. She's like, I'm way faster.
Right.
Let's go right
Right.
now.
Right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that little bit of not the parents choosing, but the peers choosing and saying, you shoot too much, bro, and you take bad shots. That's what I say, you'll be ready to fight.
Right.
Because guys will be like, yo, no, why I ain't playing with you? So if you're not playing with me, this my team, I picked it, you got to get next. Well, I got next then, because I ain't picking him.
Right.
And so you learn how to navigate
Yeah. Those things.
and navigate the things versus
But
being on a pick
today,
team.
like most kids pick a sport early,
Yeah.
and it is their sport year round.
Yeah.
But does that advocate for like injuries and like same like muscle movement like issues,
Man, it's different now.
right? Because
It's
we grew
different.
up playing 3
Yeah.
sports.
We all
Yeah.
just play
And
multiple
little
sports.
muscles, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. You train, like you kind of
Yeah.
learn footwork, like
You know, I think the parents need to learn when to help their kid to take a break, right? Like when is it a break and when do you got to turn up the gas to go? And I think that'll help the one sport kids early on. Now, it's not bad to play one sport because you got people that play tennis and that's all they play.
yeah,
absolutely.
That's it.
And then
yeah.
they dominated it, right? And you got people that when they find out they fast, they just focus on track.
Right.
And so I think it takes hours. Like they have the 10,000 rule, like you got to put in hours of it, but it's not always have to be physical. And then at a certain age, you have to introduce agility, speed, and then strength condition, which is like the last part because people develop and you don't want to condense the body.
Right.
And so I think if you balance out what that looks like, you can really help the kid take care of their body and be more successful. Like my son, for instance, he just finished high school playing in the playoffs. I was like, hey, you're off for the next 2 weeks of basketball. But you got strength and conditioning,
Yeah.
you got jump training,
Yeah.
You have Pilates. You got yoga on Sunday. You know, you're just not going to be on the basketball court.
Sure.
And the reason why I'm able to do that is because I know the power of routine. So building him a routine when he gets back to basketball, it's about what he do every day.
Sure.
It's not learning a bunch of new stuff because who he is how he's going to play the game. I watched him. I was like, oh, that's that's him. So then I was like, oh, okay, well, here's your system. And you don't need nobody to go to the gym.
Sure.
And, you know, it's on you.
Yeah.
And so that's how you balance that. You got to give breaks.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a thing because there's conversation around whether or not AAU circuit and
Like EYBL.
at UIBL and just how much kids are playing now causes the burnout, particularly as time goes on, you know what I mean, as they get further in their careers, being more injury prone. Do you feel like there's a correlation between, because like, let's even look at the NBA, right? Like these players are getting hurt.
Injured, yeah.
Oh my God, like crazy. And I'm sure part of that is just the way that they're actually training, period. But is there some correlation to how much is...
It's the guys that's showing up to the gym like, oh, all right, let's go. That's how you get injured.
Yeah, that's fair. I know a few of those guys.
If
I'm
you're
like,
going to
oh,
be
Lord.
great, a great player shows up an hour and 30 minutes before. You take LeBron James, for instance. He's showing up. If we starting at 7, he's probably at the gym at 5:30. I'm telling my trainers, like, hey, he got his strength coach there. He got the stretch person. Or he lifts himself. Hold on.
right. Say it loud. Yeah.
He trains himself. He'll have a program that's put in place.
Sure.
He warms up properly. He stretches properly. He lifts properly. And he prepares for the court.
Okay.
Preparation is key. So when you're looking at injuries, you got to look at, did they prepare for what they were going to do when it comes to AAU? AAU is not the problem.
Okay.
We hooped all the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I used to hoop 8 hours a day in the summer.
That's true.
Like easy.
Yeah.
Like, yo, like then you go from hooping to swimming.
Right.
Like you jump in the pool. Like,
Right.
we're going to the pool. And then it's nighttime and you back outside.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's any different.
Okay.
I think it's the preparation, and I think it's the understanding that if you have an AAU season, like her baby's having an AAU season coming up, how do you prepare your body for the weekend journey? I call it's the weekend journey because AAU is not during the week.
Fair. It's not.
It's only during the weekend. Yes, it's some Friday nights, but majority, like 2 games on Saturday, 2 games, or 3 on Sunday.
Depending on if you advance. Yeah.
So you have to prepare for that.
Okay.
If you learn the system and you prepare for the system, you're going to have more success. You'll be more healthy. You know, some injuries, you know, ankle injuries and little things, those are nicks and knacks. But when you're talking about burnout, it's because they're not doing the hard things. Like, I don't know how many basketball players run track.
Yeah.
All we do is run.
Right. That's it. So why wouldn't you?
So
do
why
track?
would you run track?
Correct. Big dumb dumb.
And they said, well, I got
Isaiah Carter.
AAU. Like, why would you run track? It's only 45 minutes, hour and 15 minutes after school.
Right.
I got AAU. But if you run track, you go right into AAU. You probably gonna start to 6:30, 7. That's preparation for the weekend of endurance, building the fibers, building those small muscles, building the big muscles. I just think that the burnout happens because of the parents.
Yeah, I want to get into parents.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the burnout of the brain.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Not
just
even
exhausted.
the
Yeah.
physical
Yes.
body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to get into parents because there's obviously different style of parents. We all know every version of them, right? There's the parent that's like, fine, this is what you want to do. Fuck it, I'm going to drop you off.
Yep.
Like, good luck, right? Do your
Good
thing,
luck.
and I'll pick
Right.
you up. Cool. There is the parents that are very hands-on who have everything to say about what their kid's doing. If they perform well, they didn't perform well, you know, and they think they know.
Yes.
And then, you know... and
I'm like in between. I'm the second or the third one you're about to say.
and then there's the parents that are always kind of looking for that, like, shortcut, if you will. So they're
Right.
moving the kid around a lot. They're doing a
Oh,
lot of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not that person.
Yeah, no, you're not that person. at all.
Yeah, that's not it.
What are you finding, especially because you're hanging in, you're in the youth space, is some of the biggest mistakes parents are making in the way that they are handling their kids and trying to navigate their careers, if you will?
Great question. Parents are afraid to watch their kids fail.
Dang. Mic drop. End of podcast. Shit.
For real. Yeah.
Right.
So you're helicoptering. But if they don't fail, they don't learn.
Sure.
And you can't interrupt their movie. Even if you have the answers to the tests, sometimes your answers are more valid if you shut up and watch them fail. So my advice to parents, while you have them in your house, set them up to where you can watch them fail, because you can still help them.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Don't wait until they get outside the house and you
Yeah, ain't
Yeah,
got no
you're-
voice. Yeah.
I mean, but you
yeah.
can. It's nothing you can do now.
Right.
And so I think that's what's driving the parents to be upset. That's what, a parent wants something like, my kid should play over this person, that person, right? But the parent, do you go to every practice? Are you evaluating? Do you even actually know how good your son is or daughter is or isn't? Like, what's the comparable? Nothing's fair. I've never met a coach at any level that plays to lose.
Right.
They all plan to win, and they can sub a player out, and the player can have a great attitude, walk to the bench, and by the time he even sit down, they sub him right back in.
Yes.
So you got to allow them to make mistakes. Now, when they go take a test in class, do you get to go take a test with them?
Unfortunately not.
Do you?
Yeah. No?
I don't either.
Yeah.
So why do we go to their tests and performance, and now we want to give them all the answers why the performance is going? We create what I call performance anxiety. So through performance anxiety, now we have a real issue because the player can never peak perform because there's so much anxiety built around whether they're making mistakes, whether they listen to coach, can they hear the parent in the stands, if it's a trainer involved that don't know and he got his own perspective or she got her own perspective. It's a lot of moving parts now, and now we're looking at the mental.
Yes.
So when people say 90% of the game is mental, it is.
Yeah.
You've never been to a boxing match and seen the corner get up while the fight was going,
Right.
go in the ring.
Right.
Right. No, real.
Right.
If that boxer for 1 minute took his eyes off of anything that's going
Target's a wrap.
on and get his ass whooped,
Right.
that's how I view it. I got to put you in the ring.
And then fuck it.
Yeah.
I get to
Let's
go
go.
for it.
Listen, parents, you got to let them fail a little. They'll be
No,
all right.
no, fell a lot.
They'll be all right. Yeah.
Like when problem solving is all we do as adults.
True story.
So if you want to speed your kid up, teach them problem solving, making choices, decisions, like that's a skill set. Like when you look at every great story, like you look at Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, CJ McCullough, Jimmy Butler, and I could just keep naming guys that were 3-star players, 0-star players, 1 scholarship, John Morant, 1 scholarship.
That's it.
Like
yeah.
nobody could have wrote this movie for them.
Yeah.
What they learned through their process when you watch it and they talk about it is they were able to develop who they were going to become.
Sure.
And they were able to dig in and say, I don't like this. I want more.
Sure.
I got something to prove.
Yeah.
Sure.
I got a chip. They're the most successful players in the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah. True.
They overshine any player that got any accolade
Right.
that was in their class
Right.
Consistently. Yep.
because they were able to fail and experience it early
Yeah.
enough to program themselves that they don't want that feeling anymore.
Yeah.
That part.
So that's where when you talk about parenting, parenting is dope, but our kids are their own person.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
And it ain't about the sport. It's about the skill set around the sport. And the more we let them fail, the more they're going to succeed.
Yeah.
Which I think it kind of goes hand in hand too with, I don't know that parents always realize that their kid takes on a lot of their personality, and that goes into how they are in that huddle, whatnot, right? So, and we'll kind of talk to the flip side of that with the coaching side of it. But to your point about how, like my nephew, for example, through his like younger, he's in college now, but like through high school and all that stuff, he dealt with a lot of the coaches that the minute he made one mistake,
You're out.
yank him out of the game, right? And what the thing they would always say afterwards is, well, your body language and how you handled it.
Body language
and
is
so
everything.
we would get on him heavy, like, you got to just keep your head up, still cheered and all that type of stuff. But he's still human.
Right.
And so now I have dad over here looking at me, and I know when I get home or get to the car, he's going to have his two cents to say. And then I'm already feeling like the coach don't fuck with me for real because he pushed me. And, so
players are on that.
When I get in the game, you expect me to somehow be able to get out there and make the right play and do the right thing, because I know as soon as I throw that bad pass, it's a wrap for me.
Right.
So how,
No, that's good. Go ahead and ask your question.
No, well, I want to know your thoughts around kind of from both a kid, parent, and coach perspective.
I study all the coaches. I think we just released our podcast with me and Dwyane. We were talking about choosing schools.
Oh yeah,
and
great
so
question.
parents don't study the coaches. Like if you want to know where your kids should be playing and who they should be playing for, go sit behind the bench. Don't say nothing, put a hat on. Watch how they call timeouts. Watch how they communicate in timeouts. Watch how they address the kids through mistakes. And because the whole game is a mistake, right?
Happy mistake, good mistake.
The whole any game.
Yeah.
The whole game is mistakes, right? So we call it failing forward. So like your nephew, for instance, he would have to take on the skill set of failing forward, right? It's a mentality to be where your feet are. So it's not about if he missed a shot, it's the bad pass. It's what happens after that. It's your response.
Yeah.
Because I could be coming down and I could turn the ball over and I jog back, right? That's not the response.
Yes.
But if let a guy turn it over and you just see him,
sprint,
and he get to stop and dive and get it back, he's not coming out the game. Right. And then when you talk about missed shots, that's 90% of basketball. All it is, we got guys in the NBA that make millions of dollars.
Right.
That shoot 39%.
Amen.
Right. You're like
39%.
Yes.
So all it is failing.
Yeah.
So I always laugh and I tell parents, I was like, my secret ingredients is to shrink the margin of failure. So when you see greatness, all you're watching is the margin of failure in a smaller window.
Sure.
Even the greatest players.
Sure.
And what social media, what Sports Center, what they do is they take the highlight.
Right. And then they keep
But if you go watch the whole game, you're like, he turned that one over, he did this. And so to become great, you have to have a next play speed mentality. Parents, next play speed mentality. These are key words. So when I learn how to coach and I'm looking at you in a game, coaching is looking at Isaiah and saying, next play speed. So I've already taught him.
Yeah.
He can do this.
Yeah, go.
So if you ever see me at an NBA game and I'm communicating with one of my guys, I may look at him and just be like, next play speed. That's all he needed to hear.
Sure.
He may miss 2-3 in a row. He don't care in the arena. He looking at me like, next play speed.
Yeah.
Like, so simple, but it's so powerful.
Sure.
It's how fast can you get to the next play?
Can you recover?
Can you recover?
Yes.
Can I move forward? So
Right.
when you have a kid in a game and I'm watching these games and I'm watching the bench, I'm watching the assistant coaches, I'm watching the coaches, and then I'm watching the parent. So you can watch the parent. Because even when my son sitting there, people looking at me like, this guy is weird. He don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Do you hear me? I'd be like, I'd be staring at you. I'd be like, see, you ain't got nothing. Not even
Zero.
for your nephews. You ain't got nothing to
Zero.
say. I'll say it. I'll say it. Here I come. I'll say it. Some
She's
bullshit.
the problem.
But it's not that I don't have anything to say. I want to see how they respond.
Sure.
I want to see them fail. I want to see them feel emotion. And then you can have a conversation. How did that feel? What was that like? Like, what did you learn? Mm-hmm. Because all it is a learning experience on their journey. And we take away from that. Because I've seen some parents, while the game is going, jump up. Coach, put him back in the game.
I've seen that too.
I'm like,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then you can see the kid.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a kid on the court? And I ain't gonna. Have you seen a kid on the court look helpless?
Yes.
No. I'm talking about to their parents.
Yes.
Yes.
Like,
Like-
they make a mistake or they miss a shot and they turn to the parents and they're like,
Right. Like,
the ball is dribbling down the court.
Right.
And I'm like, he looks helpless.
Mm-hmm.
Can nobody help you? Like,
Yeah.
so I think that in youth, and I'm working on building like a guide for the parents and like start doing like seminars and classes. This is exactly on my 2025 board because I spent the whole year really watching in every state, every city, and me being a high school coach. You know how I coach the game? I coach the game just like Derek.
do you really?
I coach just like this.
Are you as dramatic as he is?
No. I didn't talk to the refs. I didn't. You really didn't hear me because you coach in public, you praise because I need you to move forward. In private, I'm on your ass, and I'm a killer. And I learned that with high school kids. I was like, they need my support.
Yes.
And so while the game is going, all I'm doing is support. My teams was dynamic.
Yeah.
We 34-2, 34-1. We're in the championships. And the parents be like, Coach Johnson never says anything because I've already did all the coaching.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the parent meeting, when you sign your contract, as a parent, I have my own relationship with you. So I had open practice. You're my dads. I connect with my dads. Like, yo, y'all, what y'all want for your son? Okay, that ain't gonna work.
Right.
It's
Let's be real.
Liar.
Yeah.
I had a dad like, yo, coach, why in AAU he's averaging 12 a game. On your team, he's only averaging 4. I said, come to practice. We practice for 2 hours. He takes 4 shots.
Right.
Well, no, I'm not telling him not to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's telling himself when to shoot
Yeah.
and not to shoot. So when you look at the practice, and this is great, you practice the way you play.
Yes.
So if you're going to shoot the ball in the game, you better show up and shoot the ball in practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
When coach is calling plays, you shoot the ball. You come off the screen, you shoot it. You come off the ball screen,
Yep.
you play your game because the way you show up, people will adjust to you.
Fair. Yeah.
But if you allow them to adjust you will be subbed out trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah. It's an interesting,
Your style, you know what I
it's an
mean?
interesting point
Go
that
ahead,
you make, though,
yeah.
and particularly from a coaching's perspective. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, my nephew's like my kid. My kid was playing for a popular AAU organization one summer, and the coach talked,
Crazy.
Crazy.
To me. Yeah.
Crazy. Yes.
and I am the nicest person you'll ever meet on the planet. I'm very calm,
Look at my
cool,
face.
collected.
Look at my face. I'm
Until
blinking
not.
twice.
Like, they think my brother's gonna be the one. They think, no, baby. Let me tell you how you had me and my kid fucked up real quick, right now, right? Like, so you get to that point because I'm like, and the dude didn't know what, because I'm a woman, like it's a whole thing.
You
And I'm
right
like,
on
don't get
it.
it twisted though, my brother and them there, but
Right.
like,
Right.
get crazy if you want to. But you have me fucked up,
Right.
Because this ain't about basketball,
Right.
I love my kid,
Yeah.
and I'm never gonna let anybody berate, speak down to, talk to
Right.
my kid in a way that is going to make him feel less than who he is,
Right.
particularly over a basketball game.
Over a basketball game.
And I do think there is something about especially now because it's become such a money grab in this AAU
Yeah.
circuit,
Oh,
with a lot of these coaches who caring about wins and losses because they're
Yeah.
trying to make sure they're going to keep their bag, and not caring about, like, we grew up in an era, like, I'm old enough, we grew up in an era where we actually had park and rec.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
parking lot.
Legit. Boys and Girls Club.
They can't
What?
slam and
Yeah.
jam, like they was
Yeah.
out there just caring about
Yes.
keeping these boys off the streets and making
Right.
sure they weren't doing some things, and there happened to be a lot of talent in
Right.
there and they were able to do things with it, right? The level of just investment and care into these young people, girls, boys, as just people,
Yeah.
I feel like is something
Right.
that on the flip side has been missing, it is missing right now in youth sports. And so when you're speaking to coaches,
Right.
how do you kind of help them to remember what this is really about, so that we're not having, because those moments happen way too often.
Well, coaches, first of all, I hate when a coach like shows up his team
Oh, yes.
or shows up a player.
Right. Sorry.
It's not
Yeah.
about the coach and being surprised. Like high school, AAU, and college, you have to be very careful in the process of who you put your kid around to be coach. Now, coaching hard is one thing.
Sure.
Like you can get in somebody's ass, and I mean like, and be on point, right?
Sure.
But you gotta have a relationship with that person, and it's a time and place, right? So when we're in a battlefield and I need to sub you out, just sub them out.
Yeah.
I don't have to belittle you. I don't even have to like, I can let you go to the end of the bench, sit down, then bring you back and give you the information,
Sure.
and then
Yeah.
coach you as it's going, right? But most coaches put them first. And you can see it when I'm watching and evaluating coaches, it's more about them
Than it is a kid.
than the kid. And so when you have a leader and you can see the body language of a kid and receiving information, that means that the leader hasn't maximized their communication between the two. And yes, you can yell.
Sure.
Yes, you can swear. We're not talking about that.
Sure.
We're talking about relationships.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're talking about understanding your personnel, KYP. Know who you're talking to, when you're talking to them at that period in time.
Sure.
Some people can handle more, some people can handle less.
Yeah.
You have to know as a coach who you're dealing with and the timing of it to get the most out of the person. If you don't get the most out of your player, then what's coaching?
Right.
Coaching's not X's and O's.
Right.
It's not formations. It's not traps. It's not pressing. It's getting the most
Yeah, out of them.
out of them.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? You got to have a relationship. You have something to fight for. It's a culture. It's like, man, so like when you look at coaching need coaches. I'll say that again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
for
believe
real.
even adults, like we all need coaches.
Yeah.
So who's your mentor? So if I'm a coach, get a mentor.
Okay.
Get someone that's older, more calm, different perspective.
Yep.
It's not about your press, your style, your system. It's more about the other sides of coaching. You know, and when I study and I have mentors, I had a lot of mentors, and they're really sharp. And when I sit down and I talk to them and I listen to them, they'll say different things like, how do you handle this situation? You know, like, well, what about this situation? Then I realized all it is situations.
Right. Situational. Yeah. That's it.
Everything's situational.
Yeah.
And if you watch a game won and lost, it's based on how they handle the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's outside of the concept of what we think the basketball game should flow.
Yeah.
It comes down to situation.
Sure.
Technical foul, a foul happens here. It comes down to, did we do this out of the timeout? Do I have all 5 guys on the same page?
Right.
Like substitution, chemistry, like, so coaches need mentors, and they need mentors that actually understand relationships and then the relationship with the coach and the parent. So I watch coaches, they don't, you know, they're like, they see the parent and
Yeah.
speak to the other parent and,
Yeah.
bro, you the coach.
Yeah. 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 What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Do you know why you're here?
Sure.
And so winning and losing is important. It's the end result. But when you're looking at only the end result, you cannot get peak performance. So take, for instance, an NBA game. I'll take an NBA client, right? One of my clients was struggling. He's a center, and he was struggling. And his minutes, I knew exactly when he would play. He start the game, he play about 6.5, 7 minutes, he's got to come out. This is an NBA game, 48 minutes, media timeouts. So you kind of know when he's getting in. He'll sit the rest of the first quarter. That means he's coming back in,
Right. Top of the
second. He's going to get his same 6 to 7, and then he won't play again until the second half, right? So then that's about 24 minutes, give or take, and if they really need him on the court, it could be bumped up maybe 3 to 4 minutes,
Okay.
right? I realized he played the game without a plan. He was playing a game without a plan. The game, he would get lost within the game. He was looking at the end results. So he wasn't present. He wasn't where his feet were. He wasn't in the moment. So I created a small package for him in a small amount of time. I said, you got to average 4 rebounds and 4 points, 6 minutes.
Every 6 minutes.
Every 6 minutes.
Okay.
Which is every quarter, because he
Yeah.
was only getting 6.25, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because at this point, he was averaging like 9 points a game. He was only getting about 13 rebounds. And I'm like, bro, they're going to trade you.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, they're not passing me the ball. You know, like, such and such always shooting. My guards are shooting.
Right.
They don't
Like,
see me. I was like, nah,
My guy.
you actually rolling too fast.
Yeah.
You got to slow down in your roll.
Yeah.
You got to let him get ahead of you. Let your guy take away him, and then you're open. Like, you got to really, like,
Understand.
think it through.
Yeah,
Right. Basketball IQ, my
Basketball IQ. And so putting a plan in place where he had to get 4 rebounds per quarter, and the next quarter was his own quarter. So when the quarter was done, whatever happened in that quarter happened in the quarter.
Right.
So the first quarter he came out, he had 3 lobs, that's 6 points.
Yeah.
He got fouled, another 2, and then he had an and one. He had 11 points, 3 rebounds in the first quarter. Now he got a set.
Yeah.
His mind didn't wander because he's thinking about the
knows what he's
second
gonna do.
quarter.
Right. I need to do 4 rebounds.
Before we even get to halftime,
Yeah.
he's already sitting at 14 points, 9 rebounds.
Wow.
Right away, this is an implementation
Yeah.
of me flying into his city,
Yeah.
not being on the court,
Yeah.
and breaking it down to him. This is what I mean. Coaching
Yeah.
is
It never stops.
It never stops.
Yeah.
He finished the game like 24 and 22 rebounds, player of the game.
Love it.
And I'm looking at him, and he wound up being an all-star that year. He wound up like, and all I did was look at how he was playing the game, the minutes and time. So let's take the same strategy. I think my son averaged this year well over 30 points per game, well over 30. And in the playoffs, averaged like 34 points a game. And all season, off season, about 38. People.
He gave us 43, actually. He's being really modest.
To be clear.
That motherfucker was shooting his lights out. I was like, come on, Isaiah! Miss the ball! Miss something.
He's
Shit.
playing with that thought process, though. So I taught him that system.
That's cool.
I said, bro, you need 6 points per quarter. Pass the ball. Be a team player. 6 times 4 is 24 points. 24 points a game, averaging at any level is like bananas.
Right. Awesome.
We weren't even talking about 30. Some quarters will be bonuses. Some quarters you may go crazy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that quarter's gone. So whether you miss or you make, it's gone. Stay in the moment, because the rest of the game is a new quarter. So I stopped him from looking at the end result,
That's good. That's
which
good.
took away the anxieties and the pressure of performing.
That's good.
Just perform.
Yeah.
Just stay in the moment.
And do what you gotta do.
And do what you got to do. So some quarters he may have 17 and a quarter, and I'll be like, oh. Then you go to the second quarter, and he's back at his pace, and he just get his 6. He go in the half, he got 24 points. You're like, oh, but he never missed anybody. he made the obvious pass. He's sharing, but he has a game plan that most players don't have in their head.
Sure.
And that's how you help coaches. So coaches, instead of yelling, they need to create game plans for their players outside of their game plan.
Right.
A player needs their own game plan.
Correct.
Within the game plan of the coach.
Correct. And just to kind of speak to how effective that actually is. So with my nephew, we always tell him about being an impact player,
Yep.
right? Like everybody's going to go out there, chuck up shots, whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like how are you impacting the game? Because as we know, the great players are impacting the game in so many other ways, tempo, doing the little things, all that type of stuff, right? That's very different. And so my dad, in his last few games, challenged him similarly and was just kind of like, I need a certain amount of rebounds from you.
Yep.
I need X amount of rebounds in the first half. I need X amount of rebounds in the second half. Sure enough, Buddy's been averaging however many, you know what I mean? Because one, he knows it's coming from a place of love, who's somebody who's trying to, push him to do a thing, which I think is really important. Like when parents are talking to their kids and coaches are talking to the kid, anybody who's handling kids, period, right? They need to know that they're safe.
Yes.
And they need to know that no matter what it is they end up doing, they're still going to be loved by you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're getting kicked out of the car on the
Yeah,
way home.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's a thing. And it's sounds very silly to have to say out loud, but there's a reality to the way that that people are approaching things with these kids. They're still kids, right?
Yeah, they are kids.
Their whole kind of existence is rooted on whether or not they're going to be validated by the adults in their world, right? And so he knows that my father is coming from a place of like, I love you. I want to see you do your thing. You know what I mean? And so he's like, Grandpa, okay, now I'm engaged the whole game because I'm thinking about how when I call Grandpa and I'm be like, I got the rebounds because I know what my goal is.
That's a key word you said.
Yeah.
Engaged.
Yeah.
Engaged in the moment. Even think about us as adults. When was the last time you engaged in something without your phone
right?
and just sat and just focus?
In it.
You're just in it. We all have to be engaged.
Yeah.
And that's why I do yoga every day. I do high yoga every morning. This morning, every morning. It's the only time I get to sit
Sure.
or movements that I only can focus on me.
Sure.
I'm competing with me. It's tough. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. I got things that I can't do, and it's the challenge, and it just makes me so sharp.
Sure.
And so that word engaged is overlooked because when you find a focused individual, you find an engaged individual.
True story.
Yeah.
True story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears a little bit because obviously women's basketball sports period is really doing its thing right
It's
now.
crazy.
Which
It's
has
good,
been so cool to
It's
watch.
dope.
It's so amazing. Do you train and work with girls and all that?
Absolutely.
Is there a different in your approach to how you are with the boys than how you are? Because, we come with, we got different circumstances, different hormones, emotions, things.
Zero. My
Okay.
approach.
He's like, nope, I don't care.
Okay. Okay.
The most important is delivering information.
Sure.
So my hoopers, my women hoopers, I push them in a way sometimes of things that they never thought they could do. So I don't do that. I'm like, you could do that.
Right. You can't if you want to.
Like, at the end of workouts, like, I need you getting 3 dunks. Like, after every workout.
Right.
I dunk, but I'm not. No, after every workout. And so I think women are sponges. However, they need the same amount of tender care that the boys need.
Sure.
And so it goes back to when you look at a woman basketball player, that competitive nature is there. Like my dog Candace
Naturally.
Parker.
Yep.
We're in San Francisco for All-Star a couple of weeks ago. We're on the stage and we're about to take a photo. She sees Corey. Somehow she jumps on stage, bumps Corey with the shoulder, and already in her fade, and there's no basketball in sight. Me and D looking at her like, she's like, I'm giving him buckets right away.
Yeah, legit.
That is so, the game from a woman's perspective is so dynamic.
Yeah.
It's so skilled. the shooting, the passing, the competitive nature is there. And what I love about how the game has even changed even more is like there are women hoopers that are real feminine.
Yes. Yes.
So
Right.
I never grew up with you not being able to compete and not be feminine. Like all the girls, all the tomboys was like, when they dressed up, you like,
Oh,
right.
Well, excuse me.
what's going on?
Find out.
Cause she
Simone,
like,
hey,
what's
girl.
good? And so I think that's really helped the game. Them dressing up before the games.
Yes, the catwalk.
Walking in, they getting all types of deals. We were talking with Tina about the lipstick.
Oh, yeah.
And now all of them wearing the lipstick. And people didn't even know the story. You got to check. I ain't even going to tell the story because you got to check it out on the podcast. She gave the real story about why she wanted wearing the lipstick. Okay. And so we talking to her about the game. And when you talk to the women about the game, they're just as in tune with the game as the men.
Absolutely.
And the men are watching the women, and the women are watching the men. And my WNBA players, I put them in the hoop with the guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So they can get the speed of the game, they get
Right.
that,
Toughness.
the physicality,
Yeah.
they get the hoop.
Well, because now we're seeing more fluidity in the
Right.
women's game, right? Like it was more rigid. It was more like kind
Technical.
of technical. It was very like you're running these set plays,
Yeah.
right? But now that we got the hoopers, right? Like we got Juju Watkins, who's
You
just
got a
you
bucket.
like
Killing.
what, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Bucket.
get a bucket, like the
Get a
dudes get a
bucket,
bucket
yeah.
and call it a day. And in a lot of ways, the women's game, particularly on a collegiate level, is way more enjoyable.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I
Entertaining.
love that
watch
shit.
than the men's game because the women seem to have a little better grasp on the fundamentals.
Right.
To now go with some of the natural talent and just I'm gonna
Flow.
go out here and flow.
I think the women's game, they understand team concept,
Right.
right? I think that is so important because at the end of the day, it's a team sport. But then you got to be a star within your role, and if you can figure that out early, you're out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
gone. Yeah, it's the obvious.
Yeah.
Like, when you watch women play at a high level, they make the obvious play.
Yep.
Not the hard play. Like, if I got it here and I shoot it, but you're wide open and everybody in the gym, like, pass the ball.
Yeah.
That's an obvious play.
Right.
Superstars make obvious plays.
Yeah.
Superstars make super plays, too.
Sure.
And so you have to be able to distinguish in
Which is
real
what?
time. Yeah, and don't miss the obvious. Somebody in front of you open,
Give it
Throw the
up.
ball.
Give it up.
it's the obvious.
Bro,
It has
give
nothing.
up.
It has
Yes,
nothing to
3-on-2,
do.
what we doing?
Just pass it.
Yeah.
And watch how the game flows.
Yeah.
And women do that. And when you watch them play, the team concept, the understanding, the skill set, but the obvious play
Yeah.
makes the game so fun to watch.
It's
but
so
I watch
enjoyable.
all the levels
Yeah.
of women's basketball. I watch basketball, period. It could be little kids. I just like to see like how they play, they see the game, what they're imitating. And so with the women, even with this new league, Unrivaled, right?
Which was Unrivaled.
So
is
We're gonna
so
be
fun.
going.
So
I'm going
good.
down March. I think like March 14th.
I'll be out
Oh,
there.
down for it?
Oh, y'all
Okay.
gonna be there?
Yeah.
I'm going down, and we'll be there. We'll be podcasting. Maybe we have y'all on.
Yes.
And I just like the different concepts, the new things, the new change, and it showcases women playing at a very high level, and they getting paid.
Yes.
And it looks beautiful, and they showcased it in such a major way.
The production of it
Is
is
really
just
smart.
top notch,
Yeah,
from the
it's
panels
super
to
smart.
the people calling the games. Like it is so. If you have not checked it out, Unrivaled.
Unrivaled.
It comes on TNT.
Yep.
It is like 3 days a week, and the girls are phenomenal. The
Yes.
women are phenomenal in it. Now, on a fun note to that, so in Unrivaled, it's a 3-on-3
Yep.
game tournament or whatnot, and they also in the middle did a break and did 1-on-1 tournament. If you had to pick top, let's see, 3 male hoopers that you think would kill in that format.
In the format. So obviously we're gonna start with Kai.
Yes.
Kyrie's one
Yes.
of the coldest out there. Like,
Did he lose weight or did he just shave his
he
beard?
shaved his beard.
Okay.
He just
I
looked
literally was
younger.
like- I was
He
like,
looked younger.
I was like, what happened? I was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Anyway,
he
sorry,
shaved his
okay.
beard.
Okay, Kyrie.
I would like to see Kai in a room with a bunch of paint
Yeah.
and let him
Go crazy.
paint.
Okay.
Because his brain is so free-flowing, the fluent. of like his movement. When you watch him, we are like, oh man, you should see. I mean, I'm sitting around with hoopers that play against him the next night.
And be like, ooh, that nigga.
Oh,
Right,
bro, he
right.
cold.
Every time.
And in a one-on-one situation, he's one of the toughest players, regardless of height, regardless of size. And in the off season, Kai plays with high school players. He played pickup with normal hoopers.
Really? I love them for that.
He
That's
just
important. Come on.
he
yes.
just pick up and play. Like he just show up. Like he walk in and tying his shoes up, and the kid's like, and he's like, "Yo, go hard! Like, what's up? Like, let's play."
What's up?
He has a different strategy of like developing,
cool.
and I like it. I like what's going on there. He's free, but it's not just free. He has a confidence. He has a swag.
yeah.
You don't really see him complain to the refs. And in one-on-one, there's going to be some physical play. You can't hide from it. We play ones all summer.
Yeah.
So I put guys in position to play one-on-one. What y'all are asking,
Yeah.
we do it all the time.
Okay, because we the audience want to see.
Right.
Right,
So
right.
by picking Kai, I want to stay. If I was looking at the format, and for like the NBA, I wouldn't have guards matched up with bigs.
Sure.
Cross matching
Sure.
because of the weight class, like boxing.
Right.
For sure.
So I want to put Kai up against his other weight class.
Sure.
Okay.
Right. Darius Garland.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay. That was not who I was expecting.
DG
okay.
got
DJ.
he got
I like
his ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try to put it like a genie in a bottle. He got pop. He can shoot. I mean, like he has it. That's why Cleveland is at the top. Of
Yeah.
it.
No, they've
He is
that part.
That boy is cold.
Yeah.
So now it's Kai,
DG.
DG, and then my next one that's in their weight class. We're just talking about like so.
Right,
see how I
right,
changed
like,
it. I made it because my brain is
Toe-to-toe.
toe to toe is Jordan Clarkson.
What?
He's so streaky, but I can see
What?
Nah,
He's
in
so
one-on-one though,
inconsistent.
I get that.
in one-on-one, his bag is deep. His
Interesting.
creativity. I'm gonna sing y'all some film.
Right. I'm like,
He's like, no, don't try to play my boy like
His
that.
creativity, because we're talking about three.
yeah.
Those are three creative individuals
Yeah.
at that height, that speed. They're all a bucket. But if they play one-on-one, everybody's
Everybody.
tuning in because Jordan got swag.
He does. Listen.
He got all. So you got to bring your swag in.
Okay, that's fair.
You got to bring in
entertainment.
but
little
he's
shimmy.
hard to guard.
Oh,
He's hard.
he gonna throw up some bullshit every time he plays the Clippers. I'm a
Every
Clipper fan.
time.
Every fucking time.
He got the slow step.
damn it, right,
He got the
right.
slow step.
Yeah.
I watch him with the hooks. Like one-on-one, he's tough. And so those are my 3 one-on-one from guards.
Okay.
And I would literally break it up if the NBA was to bring it. I would do it like a boxing match. And I would take and put the weight class of a position so that way you get in that good weight class. Because you don't want to be a lightweight like Florida, somebody boxing.
Right.
You
so,
know.
yeah, joking.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
And
Like,
you're like,
yeah.
that don't.
Yeah,
that,
it
that's
ain't
not
gonna
fun.
work.
Yeah,
All right, now Adam, when you inevitably add this to the All-Star
Yeah.
game, we want our
I was
coins,
about
we
to
want
say,
our
do you
think it
recognition,
needs to
we
be
want
added?
everything
Amen,
that
for real.
comes with this.
I think it definitely should be added. And where you start is with the rookies, like they do the rising,
Right,
they do the rising
rising
rookies,
game,
the rising game. You start it on Friday night, and you do it by weight class or by position.
Right. Yeah, 1 through 5.
Is it
And
1
just
through
go,
5?
yeah.
And I think it will go
Hard.
nuts.
It will. Yeah.
It will.
Yes.
The
Yes.
viewers would love that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been
So awesome.
amazing. We really appreciate you. And I feel like our hope, at least our audience, has learned a lot in terms of kind of how to move and navigate with their kids. If you're a coach, even if you're a kid listening, you know what I mean? Like to understand kind of a little bit of the psyche around it, which is really important for us and what we're hoping to do. So we really, really appreciate it.
The kids got to communicate to their coaches. Just so I don't know if I said
I
that.
mean,
No,
you
please.
didn't, and that's a good point. I actually, funny enough, we were just talking about that with the boys because Carter had said something interesting. He was like, "Man, Isaiah, I have an Isaiah too, so obviously, right? We have Isaiahs." Isaiah was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna start playing for the coach," and Carter. So their coach is their stepdad, Derek,
Yeah.
and Carter was like, "Good luck. I tried that. didn't work out for me. And I was like, so I'm like,
perspectives.
interesting. And I said, well, did you tell them? And so we've been working on that with the boys because their voice, their leader is graduating. He's a senior. He's going to Nevada. He's gone. So we've been kind of coaching the boys like, yo, this is your team. And by that means that y'all got to be like at practice. Y'all can't be afraid during school. You know what I mean? Kind of to your point, how you were saying when you were in college, being like, yo, shut the fuck up.
Like, what are you
we
doing,
here.
bro?
Yeah. Like, you know, so they're learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, which has been a really, because they're so kind. They want everyone to be happy.
They do.
They want everyone to be good. And I'm like, I love that for you. But there's a competitive beast in here I need y'all to like tap into a little bit.
And it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish. When you're young, putting yourself first, to me, is the most important thing that you can do.
But there's no like I in team. How does that balance?
But you got to be selfish first from a perspective of taking care of you.
Okay.
Before you can take care of someone else, you got to take care of you.
Sure.
And if you're focused on taking care of other people, you miss out on you. Because at a young age, balancing out personalities, emotion, and I'm trying to like mix it. Adults can't even do that.
Right.
So
Yo, adults fuck up everything. Like we're really special.
So my focus for young guys is to say, be selfish. Take care of you and everybody will follow. Take care of you first. That doesn't mean like shoot every basketball. We're not talking about shooting. But taking care of you is preparation, lifting, the things that you got to do. Take care of you. Show up early, 15, 20 minutes, set the tone, and keep showing up as you. And don't miss a day of showing up as you. And when you look up, people will be in position to follow. So sometimes your voice can be heard, but it's only heard through the action. And so you have to be selfish enough to be able to take yourself where you need to go, because if you're trying to drag everybody along with you, you're not going to get there. You have to be selfish in the process of how you view yourself. I think it's so important, because people are like, oh, no, it's no I in team or blah, blah, blah. No, but if I'm selfish in my approach, when I'm added to the team, my addition is next level. So it's an intent, it's intentional, it's purposeful, and you have to be, and with her having twin boys, they have to be selfish for themselves.
Right, independent.
Totally independent, totally selfish. And like, bro, I'm up, I'm lifting, I'm eating, I'm conditioning, I'm selfish. And we have to be selfish. And it's okay to be selfish. And people don't talk about that. People are like, what? Why are you No, I'm selfish. So I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to go to yoga. So point blank, that's selfish. Because I'm putting me first. And I think for kids, be selfish. And with adults, learn early how to communicate with adults and be able to not only be heard, but to listen. You know, and those things work together. And so if you want to be able to say what you want to say, you got to be able to listen
to what they got to say.
To what they got to say. And so there's no excuse for players not having a relationship or being the coach's favorite. So I talked to my son about that. Be the coach's favorite. What? Don't worry about what your teammates talking about, bro. The one person that's controlling the playing time is the coach. Why would you separate yourself from the coach? Why would you not be in alignment with the coach and then start seeing the way he see it and then say, Coach, I see that, I could do this. So when I'm running that, when he move, I'm gone. When you gone, he gonna be, and you look at the coach and you make that play, he gonna be like, yep. And now there's a communication. What you see on the court, you got to walk right over. Fish, listen, you don't see that back guy, but I can beat him. But if I beat him, it's going to open up our next play over here. But if I don't beat him, they jump in that pass, I turn it over once.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's advocating
For yourself.
In performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, you can't play college basketball. You won't be able to play at the highest level. And it's not always the best skill player that gets the opportunity to communicate with the
Right.
coach. Every player gets to communicate with the coach.
Yeah.
And so that's what my message would be for young players or players in general, even the guys that play in that big league. I'm like, bro, did you talk to coach?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Bro.
To the go.
Yeah.
How you been at practice
Yeah.
2 hours a day
Yeah.
and you telling me
You ain't even know this man.
you didn't even talk to the coach?
Right.
Well, he ain't. Nope, you're assuming. And don't assume.
Yeah.
Can you just go in there and knock on the door? Coach, let's have some coffee. Coach, let me just talk to you for a
Right.
second.
How your mama and them? Shit.
Once you get in there and you can navigate that, bro, those coaches are gonna love. People gonna love you.
Yeah.
Because you can make all the mistakes. They're like, they look right past it. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, they communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my message to the players going to AAU season.
Loud and
love it.
clear.
Communicate with your coach.
Wait, can I last? You're gonna kill me, but this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Okay, because he trains a bunch of WNBA and NBA players,
Yes.
and everyone's like, "Well, Gloria, enough."
Go for it.
No, but give us your like pinch me moment. What was the one client, the one person, the one player that you were like, "Ooh,
Low-key, that's wild. I'm training her."
I'm
Yeah.
about to train." Whoa, okay.
Well, I don't have one of those moments with a client
Okay.
because of this moment. So we was in Santa Barbara, Jimmy Butler and I. We were going up to Jordan's camp
Okay.
in Santa Barbara, and we were sitting in the car in the truck, and Jimmy and I looking at each other like, bro, we about to meet Jordan. And I'm like, bro, this is Jordan,
Right.
JB. Like, bro, he's like, I know, bro. I'm like, bro, what you gonna do?
Jordan.
This is Jordan. Like, bump everybody else. It's
Right.
like Michael Jackson. Like, this Jordan, bro. Like, we wasn't even prepared. Knock on the window. Because it's dark. We roll down the window. It's Jordan. He like, Jimmy, Chris, get out. We looked at each other like, he know your name, dog. He know your name.
Like,
I'm like, dang. And his approach, and if we shook his hand, like it would just happen so quick.
Yeah.
And we're really about to walk into his camp, and his camps were packed full of kids. I mean,
3,000.
thousands.
kids. It's crazy.
When we walked into the gym, Jimmy, Mike, myself, when Jimmy walked into the gym, the kids went,
Bananas.
Oh, wow.
and I looked at him and I was like, bro, they didn't even chip. Jordan just went on the court.
Yeah.
They were going crazy for Jimmy.
Oh wow.
And I was like, bro, I swear I'll knock you out, boy. They went crazy.
Yeah, right.
And just fast forward through that moment, they did some shooting, some horse and some other stuff, and then Jordan invited us to dinner. So we sat in Santa Barbara outside having
What a
dinner.
surreal moment.
And I was like, yo, but I was impressed. He knew every player. We were talking about
dope.
players on the like G League. He was like, oh yeah, I know that player. I know this.
That is
And
cool.
he remembered everything. But for me, that's a pinch you moment. No other player can ever.
Were you just grinning the whole time?
Nah,
Just
I
like-
was more curious, but once because he was like, at that point,
Right.
I
Now
was just
you're
more
there.
like, because he shocked us, and we were just joking with each other, and then it was just like, bro, that's Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody say,
can't
bro.
tell me shit.
Nothing. I just sat down and ate with
With
Jordan,
Jordan, yeah.
and his family, and we chilling, and
Yeah.
and we talking hoop, and he knows the whole G League. It was the D League at the time. He know the whole roster.
Yeah.
He knew we were talking trades, and he was looking at his phone, going through the players.
Yeah.
And then that to me was like, that was the most dopest experience. But I've never, like, any guy that I work with, I look at all basketball players the same.
Sure.
So I just see them as being who they were when they was
LeBron,
kids.
everybody. I mean,
Everybody.
he trains LeBron, y'all.
Yeah.
You can't just part like
He's he's a student of the game.
Yeah.
So like for me, my job is to be prepared to give him all the information. So that it's just like, bro, that's Braun, that's D, that's Chris, that's this guy, that's Candace, that's that person. Like for me, I've never had a moment like that. And I probably never ever have a moment
Sure.
because Michael Jackson would be the only other guy
Right.
that I'd have been like, that's
Well,
Michael
Michael Jackson,
Jackson.
And if
though.
you meet
Right,
Michael
exactly.
Jackson,
And
Right,
like,
exactly.
like,
Sure.
that's my, and I thought about that. I was like, but it only lasted, like, it was short,
Sure.
but it
Yeah.
was dope.
Sure.
And I was like, man, I ain't get no pictures.
But that's the best.
I
Because you
know.
were, you know,
I
what you
wasn't gonna
say,
take no
yeah, be
pictures.
where
I
your
don't
feet
take
are,
pictures.
Be
Be
where
where
your
you
feet
fit.
are.
We didn't
yeah.
take pictures. We didn't have like cameras.
Yeah.
We wasn't like being filmed. It was none of that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so when you tell a story, people are like, bro, I was like, for sure, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
I promise. I
For sure.
promise. Yeah.
For sure,
Right.
1,000. So that's my
That's
picture.
funny. Okay.
That's awesome. All right. Well, good. Well, we're going to wrap it on up. We do really quickly do a thing called State Your Claim. So we just want to know your favorite teams. So your favorite NBA team,
Don't have one.
favorite team to watch.
Don't have one.
You don't watch NBA?
Yeah.
You don't, but you watch
I
it
have
all.
favorite.
Got it.
I have favorite coaches,
Oh.
and I have favorite players.
Top favorite current coach to watch.
Jason Kidd,
Okay.
Okay.
Tyrone Lue.
Shout out
Love
Clipper Nation.
Tyler.
Love Ty Lue.
Yeah, he's the best.
Like he's and Joe for the Boston.
He's crazy.
Nah,
He's so
he's
young
straight.
and dope. Like,
He's straight. I don't even want to say that word. I almost said another word. Dude, he coach a game with no haircut.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
he's,
That
he's
means he
the-
focused. Like he got no haircut. His edge up all the way down his neck.
he ain't even looked in the mirror. He's like, anyway.
And
Right.
I was like, bro, he ain't even, you can't beat no coach that ain't got no
Can't be
haircut.
no coach like
He
that.
ain't worry about what he look like.
give a fuck.
He gives zero.
Shit. Zero.
I watch him on the sideline. I'll be looking. I said, let me see if Joe come out with no edge up.
Right.
There go Joe,
Here we
no
go.
edge up, and he on it. He's like, boom,
Dying.
and
Yes.
he's young. But those
He is
three
young, yeah.
coaches,
Okay.
I love their brain. I love T Lue for his ATOs, which
Yes.
is after timeout situations.
Money every time.
He's unbelievable. Jason Kidd, strategic in the way he communicates with his team. I love the way he builds. You can see his relationship with the players. You can see how smart he is, his repetition there, and you can see he's seasoned. Even like in questions, he's seasoned.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with Joe, it's all passion.
Yes.
You can see how his team Boston has this defensive proud
Yeah.
edge, like we're gonna punch you in your mouth.
Yeah.
And he's actually coaching them.
That one.
Yeah. And they want to
He's-
play for him.
They
though.
want to play for him.
Yeah, and I
but
love
he's
that.
earned that. Like
Yeah.
he's like in it.
Yeah.
Like he's in it.
Yeah.
Like he love
He gonna run
basketball.
through the brick wall with him.
He's in it.
part.
Yeah.
And so I like coaches. And with the players, I love talented players, but I look at the game different. So I'm looking at the game from like execution, guys that play hard,
Sure.
guys that defend at a high level, guys that make obvious plays, guys that understand the game and can manipulate it,
Sure.
like how they manipulate situations. You can see a play call and they can break the play call.
Yeah.
They call a play and you can see their brain and they just boop, boop, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh. And they see the game and they dominate the
just do-
game.
yeah.
That's what I love about all players.
Okay.
And so that's my favorite, the coaches.
Do you have a favorite NFL team?
The coaches.
You watch coaches in NFL?
Throw this
Watch the
at you.
All right.
Yeah,
Who's your favorite NFL coach?
So like,
Killing me, Smalls.
no, I
I'm
mean,
messing with you.
when you look at the sports, look at the coach.
Yeah.
Who's the Pittsburgh Steelers coach? Y'all know?
Mike Tomlinson.
Who?
Tomlinson,
And
right?
how long has he been there?
Since a billion years.
Listen to him talk.
Okay.
The HBO thing that they did, the in-season one, phenomenal. Phenomenal
Look
to
at
hear
his
their
approach.
preparation. Yeah.
This is
it
what I'm
was very
saying.
cool.
Coaches are not studying coaches.
Yeah. It was
Because
very
he's not bigger than the team. He's not bigger than the player.
Mm-hmm.
He's coach. And he's a cement. He's their backbone. And when you watch him coach, he coaches in such a way that's bigger than football.
Yeah, he's
Fair.
a finesse. That's fair. I pick teams because I like their colors, and I pick teams. for cities. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, coach, shit. I need to start paying attention. God damn it.
Yeah. The hard knocks, to your point, is good for that very reason. I think being able to kind of understand how they prepare is really cool. So coaches, if you're watching, watch the coaches.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
You were fabulous.
I got some good questions. I got a question for you and you.
Okay.
Oh.
So being a mom,
Yes.
what's your approach? Because the boys, they blessed to have 2 men
Yes.
that play the game
Fair.
high IQ, invested. They all
Yeah.
what's your role
In there.
in that whole scheme of things?
Yeah. To your point, I mean, I come from a basketball family too, like played hoop. So I feel like I give some insight on the game as well. But to your point, I think I balance it out with more like nutrition, routine, like homework, diet, like all of those things. I certainly give a lot more in that way,
Right.
Especially routine part, the make your bed, the put your phone down, the, eat, the let's establish, we just created a rule. They have to do 3 things before they can get their phone back. Like, did you help someone already? Like, and this is like 8 a.m. I'm like, did you help? So now they're like getting up and helping, like feed the dog.
Absolutely.
Now they're making sure their beds are made. Now they're making sure their backpacks are by. So I'm helping with those things, more like the like mental, emotional development.
Which is important. And so for the women that are listening, she just showed you that teamwork make the dream work.
Oh yeah.
Because all of that is so important when it comes to the balance. And so you don't have to step in the foot of like what's already been covered.
Right.
Because
Right.
us as men, we can't cover certain
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, no, no offense, but a lot of men are very one track.
It's just like,
It's like,
blueprint.
I
It's
mean,
like-
I tell Derek all the time, he drives on a one-way street. And I be merging the fucking freeway. I be like navigating 6 lanes. I'm like, my guy. But, but we do like, but we do have a role. And even with their dad, their dad and I have agreed to disagree on certain things.
Right.
We agreed to agree, we pick and choose. So we've had to, if nothing else, we've always come together for Isaiah and Carter.
that's the bond.
And that's,
Most
yeah.
people can't do that.
It's been difficult. There are
Yeah.
times where I'm like, so if he stepped in front of this car, I might, you know what I mean? But you find yourself being more emotionally available because it's for the kids.
Yeah. I get to
So.
see y'all from an outside perspective. And y'all are dope.
I'm like, cut the scene.
No.
Nah, thank you.
I
Yeah.
do because
Yeah.
I get to watch what people don't see.
Sure.
And I ain't talking about like media, social media, any of that.
Sure.
I'm talking about you being a parent, Matt being a parent, Derek being a parent.
Sure.
Like, it's so dope,
Thank you.
right? Because everything's about community. Now, no one can pick who they need in the community the way you guys have, like so much knowledge and so much wealth. So I think you guys do a great job. Either you dropping the kids off, Matt dropping the kids off,
yeah.
Matt getting out the car, coming in and training with him, Derek coming in and training with him. And I'm looking, I'm like, this is dope.
Yeah. Thank you.
So keep being dope.
I appreciate you. No,
And
thank
it's the
you.
it's the dopest thing that you can see.
Absolutely.
And that's what parenting is. So with your nephew, right?
Yes.
How is his mom and dad involved?
Ooh, yeah.
So his mom is just kind of a cheerleader, right? She's just kind of like, go kid, do your thing, because she's not really, it's not her world. So he kind of similarly, so he has a blended family as well. So he has his biological mom and she has her kids, and then he has my brother and now my sister-in-law. Or my sister-in-law's been in his life since she was little. So my sister-in-law is very much the rah-rah, like kind of similarly. She's like, did you eat? Did you,
Yeah.
she's kind of focused on these kind of things. And she's like, I just want you to like be doing what you want to do and that you're happy doing it, right? Like, so she kind of plays that role. My brother is your sports dad. Okay. And he shout out Lawrence
Yeah, I
O'Keefe,
was
my
like,
brother,
Lawrence
love him. He has grown a lot in that, especially once his whole thing was he just wanted his kid to be able to go to college and not have to pay for it.
Hey, fair.
You know what I mean? Like,
let's go.
Whatever you decide to do after that, if you want to apply yourself enough to take it even further, wonderful, because he has the talent, he has the skill set. The kid can play at a high level if he
Right.
really does what he needs to do, right? But if nothing else, my job is to get you there.
Right.
And then from there, I'm going to just be here to support you through it, right?
And then your role.
And
as the
my
auntie.
role is to be the nurturer. So my nephew knows that in any moment, I'm the one he's going to call. So when he was in junior high and high school, particularly because he did have that, he was we're late developer. Like in my family, we grow late, all that type of stuff, whatever. And my brother wanted him to understand education before sports, so he didn't let him actually start playing basketball for real until late. So because of that, he was kind of behind the curve in terms of like kind of where other kids were, but he's so naturally gifted that like, and so he had a lot of trouble with the coaches. He had a lot of trouble with that. He's an emotional kid, so they sit him and he's looking for dad, everybody and all that stuff. And I was kind of the straight man like you. Like I'm gonna cuss the ref out.
Yeah.
But I'm never gonna yell at him.
Right.
Yeah. So after the game, I come and go, "You're good.
Yeah.
You got this. Remember when you did do this thing? That was the thing. Focus on that.
Yeah.
Like let's kind of whatever." And I was like, and I promise you, you're gonna get to where you gotta go. Auntie has never broken a promise. I told him he was gonna get to every level that he's gotten to so far. So I'm that kind of like foundation. I'm that kind of like make sure I'm pouring into the person because everything, once he's confident in himself, the talent and everything else
is there. Yeah. 100%.
Forget about it. When he's not thinking about it on the court, forget about it. He's like a little Klay Thompson. Like, forget about it.
Just gotta hoop. But when you have the support system like you guys are talking about, if adults got together without the kids and say, all right, what's your role? Because we're talking about teams. Everything is team dynamic. When you sit down and you can define each one role and what we do great, and then you apply that to the kid, watch what your kid does.
Yep.
That's funny. I have a meeting with Matt actually on Monday.
See?
I know. And
But
he's like...
just figure out what you do great, what he does great.
Right. And
then figure out how they see themselves. And it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna give kids a good anyway, but they're gonna perform so much better because kids watching two people work together.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
That's valuable. Hey, parents,
I
form your
know.
team, find your role.
Form your
Do
team
thing.
and find your role and build community.
Because there are teams everywhere. No, thank you for that. Yes. I'm going to give you big hugs.
All right, we did it, guys. All right, so thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure that you guys subscribe, like, share, comment, tell
All
a
the
mama,
things.
tell a friend, tell everybody to follow Sportsing and join us again next week. Thank you to Mr. Chris for being here and talking with us. Of course, that's Gloria. I'm Erica, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.